pretty amazing person here in studio, and he's running for sheriff again. But this is an issue nationwide, the type of people you should have run for sheriff and the power of the sheriff that Sheriff Richard Mack and others have talked about, stand up against tyranny. Raymond Frank, 2012 Republican candidate for Travis County, November 6th. The election's coming up here in Austin, Texas, named after, well, you know, William Barrett Travis. Was elected sheriff of Travis County for 8 years and holds the Air Force's highest aeronautical rating of command pilot with 3,600 hours. After that, he was a special agent, lieutenant colonel with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations for 15 years, assigned in Berlin, Paris, London, Wiesbaden, Reykjavik, Iceland, and South Central Texas. Community service, he quarterly donor of blood, will surpass 7 gallons during 2012. Don't give too much. We need you to... and he also helps the homeless, RaymondFrank.com. And you were one of the, I think, the first sheriff in the country, before there were even laws, to say, stop throwing people in jail for marijuana. You're friends, of course, with Willie Nelson and other such evil people, because you think the jails ought to have violent offenders in them. I wish you'd be our sheriff again. That would be awesome. And Ray, it's good to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Really an honor to be here.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. What do you make of where the country's gone?
I'm really scared. It's hard to figure out what's going on. But I'll say this, if I'm the sheriff, my loyalty will be to the citizens of Travis County 100%. In other words, I won't sign up with the federal government on some stupid program that would be adverse to our citizens in Travis County.
Well, I tell you, so much is going on. Let's just look at the marijuana issue. I know you don't smoke it, I don't smoke it, but George Washington grew it and did smoke it. I have that magazine there that's in front of you, the new InfoWars magazine. I'm going to give you a few copies here when you go. Yeah. And in there is an ad for hemp oil that doesn't even have THC in it. It's another variant of the plant. And I've had people say, how dare you even have hemp oil that's legally imported, not allowed to grow it in the U.S., that's been proven good for the stomach, anti-cancer, you name it. And I've basically been accused by quite a few people of being evil. So they think even hemp, even if it's a shirt of hemp, is evil because, the chemical companies say so. How do you battle ignorance of that level? And go back and tell folks what you did with marijuana enforcement in Travis County.
Well, I stuck my head out. When I was elected in my first year in office was 73, and I volunteered to appear before the Senate Jurisprudence Committee in our state Senate. And I advocated that it should be lowered from 10 years in the slammer, 10 years in the state penitentiary, to a misdemeanor. And I took a lot of heat from that. But I'm glad I did that. And now I think it's time to move on and have no penitentiary or jail time involved in if somebody is arrested for it. I just don't think she should be arrested. It should be legalized.
I said 14 states last week, and I was corrected. It's like 18 states have said decriminalize. That doesn't mean legalized. Tax it, all that. And the feds just won't stop, including Obama. He promised to let the states do what they want, but he's a liar.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's too bad. I don't know whether, if I'm elected, I don't know whether this next legislature we can do anything because we have nothing written on the books yet. But
what do you think about people that think in my magazine when I advertise quality hemp products that have no THC in it, different variant of the plant, people think I'm dealing marijuana?
Yeah, well,
what do you say to the people that
they really think that, or they just say that to antagonize you and so forth?
No, see, only 25% of people read newspapers now. They actually think it's marijuana.
I said that earlier. Yeah,
that's a new big study out today.
Well, there's a lot of uninformed people, and. But we don't need to be arresting these young kids and put them in jail.
When you were a lieutenant...
I have a grandson that was put in jail because of a small amount of marijuana. Amazing.
Well, they need fresh meat for the private prisons.
I don't know about private prisons.
Well, a lot of these prisons actually are...
yeah, they're privatized. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I think the county should run the jail.
What would you do as sheriff if elected coming up in 3 weeks, and how can people get behind you to do that?
To do what? To
get elected sheriff.
Well, I have a lot going for me now. Unfortunately, for the incumbent, he has a lot of dirty laundry and baggage that's following him. And I just don't think he has a snowball chance in hell of being elected sheriff because people, he's getting a lot of money from strip joints, not only here in Travis County, but in Las Vegas and Houston. And people aren't going to put up with that. He's getting, well, $39,500 since 2005 to 2012. He's gotten $11,000 from beer, wine, and alcohol people. Citizens of Travis County don't want that. And
what would you do if elected sheriff? What would be the first 3 or 4 things you'd do?
Well, the first thing I want to do is, he has what I call a ticket writing frenzy. He has dozens and dozens and dozens of patrolmen that do nothing but give tickets. And he does that on roads that's being controlled by the city of Austin and other suburban cities in our county. We're going to put a stop to that. I want these people to get out in the neighborhoods and protect my home. I live in the unincorporated area of Travis County. I never see a patrolman on my street.
No, they're always out writing tickets.
That's right. They're down at the bottom of the hill. I live on Camino Alto. You know where I live.
Yeah.
They're down there. I haven't seen them in about a month, so I think they're slowed up.
Because you've been talking about it
because of the election coming up. But we're going to do away with that. And what bothers me is what am I going to do with all the personnel they have? He has 121 patrolmen and officers that take vehicles home at night, back and forth. And the county pays for that. They pay for the gasoline and everything. And I'm not going to be given tickets like that. So I'm going to have a lot of surplus people, really. What
do you think about massive layoffs of police and sheriff's departments nationwide? And then they say, we're not going to respond to calls as much anymore. We're just going to raise money. Well, then who even needs the police or the sheriff's departments if they don't even respond to major crimes?
That's absolutely terrible. That's not right. I don't want my patrolmen to be revenuers. No, that's not their job to do that. And
well, plus the big secret is that money ends up, most of it getting taken away anyways and ferreted off to banks and bonds and investments. Yeah. They tell the police, go out and write tickets or we'll go bankrupt. But notice they're writing more tickets than ever and they're shutting them down everywhere.
I know.
There's not enough money to ever pay off the New World Order. It's designed to implode us.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I can't tell you what's going to happen. It's horrible.
What do you think of Art Aceveda and the federal funding to go out and have these rubber stamp warrants and suck blood on the highways?
I think that's horrible. I'm against it. First of all, I don't think we should be taking federal money. I don't want federal money.
Well, it's our money they already took. Yeah, it's incredible.
But I may have to take something that's already been signed up for, but I don't believe in that.
That's what Ron Paul, people say. He's a hypocrite. He doesn't do earmarks, but once it comes anyways, he takes it.
Yeah.
Because, it's already coming. What do you do?
Yeah, but I'm not going to sign up for any new programs that will make it come,
Now, you were loved as sheriff. I've looked into it. Willie Nelson loves you. And you were in for 8 years. So from, 73 to 88?
Yeah. Yeah, 8 years. Yeah, well, I tried to be a good sheriff. I was, I believed in the people, and they believed in me, and I want to help people. I want to be a peace officer. I don't want to be a law enforcement officer, period. I want to be a peace officer, my people. And you got to understand that everything one of my deputies does is just like me doing it. If they're driving a car, that's like me driving it. So I'm going to really be careful of what they're doing.
I've noticed you've been getting some traction. You have a chance to win. RaymondFrank.com. People want to read your amazing history. Back when you were a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force after being a pilot doing criminal investigations, could you have ever imagined, and I know dealing with the Soviets and stuff in Germany, could you have ever imagined that America would become like the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I was a special agent. I was actually a spook. And I worked in Berlin. Berlin was the spook capital of the world. All these nations had spooks there, and
Bob Chapman, rest in peace.
What he was doing too.
No, he did that. Yeah,
he was in the Army, and I never imagined. I never thought that this would happen to our country, but it sure is.
Back when you were working as a spook in the Air Force in Berlin, if they would have told you, hey, in 2012 there'll be Army checkpoints, the government will ship guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment, the TSA will take women who don't want to be taken into rooms and strip them, the NSA will be listing everybody without warrants, would you have thought they were crazy?
Absolutely. Unbelievable. You just couldn't believe it.
What would people have done back then if they would have seen that?
Well, if you would advocate that, they'd think you were crazy, you know, for one thing. You know how that is. People wouldn't stand for it, but nowadays people seem to be programmed to just go along to get along or something. I don't know. It's strange, you know.
It's amazing because I've studied the Soviets, and everything we're going under is like right out of a Soviet playbook. I mean, it is. But we still got free speech and things. They're trying to curtail that now. I know you've been standing up mightily for the First Amendment in many ways, on and off the air. What else do you want listeners and voters to know? I mean, generally, we're being heard all over the world right now, not just Travis County. What do you think of Sheriff Richard Mack, who I know has been supporting you, and his move for people to rediscover the sheriff and the true role of the sheriff? Because, you know, they're trying to get rid of the sheriff nationwide.
Yeah, I know there's some they advocate that, but it's a constitutional office, and we get our commission from the governor. From the governor of the state of Texas. And
the state legislature. You are elected by the people.
Yeah, I know, but we're commissioned by the governor of Texas.
Yes.
He gives us a card to carry, an ID card. I still have mine from the previous governors. But it's not, we're not going to give it up. But it was tried, though, several years ago when they were rewriting the Constitution, when they were rewriting, Ronnie Earl was the...
Yeah, they hate police that are actually elected. That's a horrible idea.
They were setting up to...
That makes perfect sense. Of course you should elect the sheriff. And I mean, that's a no-brainer.
But Ronnie Earl and our big judge, it was with the Texas government, they were advocating that the sheriff be provided by the House of Representatives. In other words, if one was needed.
Yeah, I tell you, boy, Ronnie Earl, he's a pretty scary guy.
And I got the word out as best I could to other sheriffs throughout Texas what they were doing, you know, and we can't allow that. And if I'm elected, I'm going to try to be the representative that will ride herd on what's going on.
Explain the office of the sheriff and why it's so important. I mean, it's one of the oldest elected offices since the Magna Carta. I mean, it's...
Well, yeah, it's
the beginning of the republic system.
In Texas, we had sheriffs when we weren't even a state. We were just a republic. We had sheriffs. We were serving civil papers. Now our sheriff's department does not serve civil papers at all. They've slept that off onto the constables. We're going to get back into serving papers. And the Texas law is that we're the representative. It's in writing that the sheriff will represent the House of Representatives and the Senate on getting out subpoenas and other papers like that. And it's a shame that we're not in it. But
yeah, that duty's the real power. Well, notice they just want to take it away because God forbid the people ever elect a good sheriff. Sequestrations,
that should be our job. You never want to get a sequestration because that's when we come after your property, you know. So I'm going to set the example, and I'm going to, and the people are going to hear from me, just like when I was sheriff before. If I want the people to know what's going on there. Now you don't know. I know about accidents that have happened, serious ones the sheriff's had, deputies. The people don't even know about it. And that used to be covered, remember, a long time ago, 30 years ago. Maybe.
Oh, now you just do whatever the government... Now media takes a press release from every department and just repeats it as if it's true. Government could say that, you know, Lucky Charms elves are going to land in Zilker Park tomorrow, and the media would be out there waiting for Lucky Charm elves to land. I mean, they just repeat whatever they're told.
Yeah, well, I've been sending press releases in, but then the other day I got this Truth-O-Meter thing. They wrote an article about me, and it came out mostly true, so that was good. I don't know whether you saw it or not.
What, the Statesman?
Yeah.
I missed it, but I mean, how could they lie about you, buddy? I know you've got a perfect record.
Well, they were questioning the amount of money that's been donated by Perfect 10 and Sugars. And they were saying, well, that's not right. It's a lower figure. And I said, sir, it isn't. It's $3,700. It's $37,000. And now there's a brand new donation of $2,500, so that takes it up to $39,500.
And why are you saying it's bad for the topless bars to be donating to him?
Well, the sheriff, they shouldn't be donated. The sheriff shouldn't be taking money from them. I don't care who they donate to, but don't donate it to law enforcement people, you know.
Sure, because we all know some of the things that, you know... there's criminal acts every day in those places where they're lewd or indecent exposure, different things.
Perfect 10 is ranks in the top 10 of liquor sales in the state of Texas. In the city of Austin, I mean Travis County.
Well, I mean, my whole issue is, I understand you're just saying your candidate takes from, I mean, I don't know anything about those groups, so that's a separate issue, here on the air, but I understand your point in the paper. I missed that. Sheriff, expanding on this, what would you do with the federal government? Because I know in the old days under the Constitution, just 30 years ago, 20 years ago, the FBI and others got permission to come in, and now there's a move for sheriffs again to exert their authority and say, you've got to have everything lined up properly to come into this jurisdiction instead of just total federalization. Yeah, well, I've heard that many times, and it would be nice if we could kick them out and they'd have to get permission to come in, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. There's so many federal people in Travis County of different agencies, Secret Service. No, I know, but I'm saying, look, we've gone from the point of where they had to do that to just a takeover now. Yeah, well, they're not, a lot of police actually carry a secondary federal card now. Yeah. We're going to be the chief law enforcement agency for Travis County, I can assure you that. And even if I have to wear 5 stars up here instead of the 4 stars that the chief of police wears. Or you can wear 8, Well, no, they wear 6. I'm being sarcastic. 5. No, like a third world general, I know. More and more police chiefs look like third world generals, yeah. The sheriff in Los Angeles wears 5 stars here, which is 1 star above the 4, which are traditionally worn by chiefs of police. Yeah, because I guess if a governor was kind of dictatorial, he might wear 5 stars. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know about that. Well, yeah, because that means, like the El Jefe wears 5, yeah. Yeah. Like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs wears 5. That's right. Yeah. No, 4. 4? Yeah, 4 stars, yeah. Why not 8 stars? Dempsey wears 4. He's the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. Yeah, he wears 4. Now, during the World War II, Eisenhower had 5, and MacArthur, I think, had 5, but they were in a round set. 5 stars. Oh, because that symbolized it was a joint command. Just how about 90 stars? Yeah, I don't know about that. Hey, how about instead of just giving Obama and the warmongering EU a peace prize, they could give Genghis Khan a peace prize. It's already such a joke, the peace prize. Yeah. Why don't we give Mars, the god of war, a peace prize? You ever think about that? We're fighting in Afghanistan. There's only been one guy that's ever captured Afghanistan. You know who that was? Genghis Khan. Yeah. He did that by killing everybody. Exactly. We'll give him a peace prize. Well, Raymond Frank is certainly a chip off the old block of good American sheriffs. He's been sheriff in Travis County before. RaymondFrank.com. Another great sheriff, of course. We need to get back on the show. Hey, maybe for the 48-hour broadcast, with only a few slots left, perhaps we should get Sheriff here on the air, of course, and everybody knows who I'm talking about, Richard Mack. RaymondFrank.com. People want to donate or get behind you. Have you had a chance to debate the people you're running against yet? No, I haven't had a chance. I haven't been asked to. I don't think that my opponent wants to debate. Probably because of the adverse stuff that's come up. And I had one ad in the paper, and I have an ad that's going to be in Sunday's paper, the 21st, the 28th, and the 4th of November. And it's negative advertising. I realize that. But the reason I'm doing that is people, they need to know the background of our public officials. And that's the only way I know to get it out. Like he went bankrupt in 1997. He beat his creditors out of $146,000. He was certified as a biological father of a 13-year-old child. Can you imagine that? 13 years went by before the mother of that child got him before the Attorney General of the state of Texas and had him certified biological father, and the birth records of that child was changed. Hey, look at that photo. Who are you with right there? Oh, yeah, that's me and Willie and Slim Pickens. Slim Pickens. Yeah, Slim, he's dead. Oh, I know. Shoot, a guy can have a good time with all that stuff. He's cool. You know, that's a quote from Dr. Strangelove. He was telling about his ranch in Colorado. He was ready to go up there, and he died kind of early. Yeah. Hey, I need to get... That's at Briarcliff. Yeah. Used to be an old thing there. And you knew LBJ pretty good, didn't you? Well, I knew his brother. Yeah, Sam Houston, yeah. I sure did. Oh, yeah, I was a pallbearer at his funeral. Yeah, I need to get you on sometime just about history. Talk about all the spook stuff against the Russians. And I think that
I give Sam credit for me making Lieutenant Colonel. God bless him. And the way he does it, he doesn't tell his brother, but he told the pilot of Air Force One, who is now retired. He's a general. He's retired and lives in Texas. And I think he put in the word that Raymond Frank needs to be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, and I got it. I don't know, but I'm sure that happened.
Well, a lot of wild stuff's going on here in Austin.
Yeah. I deserved it. I had a good.
I know. You're a character.
A lot of people are vying for every one of those promotions.
Hey, listen, we ought to get you in here sometime and talk about. It's been 40 years, so you could come on and talk about some of the spook stuff against the Russians, or have you been released from all that? Are you allowed to talk about that?
I don't know whether I've been released or not. I do know we flew to Oslo once. I was a pilot of the airplane and interrogated a Soviet officer that defected in Oslo. But I wasn't really involved all that much at the top level. You know,
you weren't in the James Bond type stuff.
No, I don't.
A lot of times it's the low level guys.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah,
the low level guys are out there killing people.
But I was a major during that time. I was in Europe, and then later I made lieutenant colonel. And the higher you get, the closer you get to working behind a desk. You know how that goes.
I was about to say, no, I know some guys that were like sergeants and stuff.
Yeah,
killing people in Berlin.
Yeah, so,
yeah. There was actually a lot of covert warfare going on there, wasn't there?
A lot of spooks. I mean, you got the French, you got the British, you got the East Germans, and then us, and because, you know, Berlin was divided.
Yeah.
And I used to fly in there a lot from Wiesbaden, and you know what our colonels wanted most? Grandfather clocks.
Why is that?
Well, you know, that was a much sought-after thing to buy a grandfather clock and bring it back to the States.
Oh, yeah, and in crystal, too. They bring back crystal. Yeah. You know what? RaymondFrank.com. I hope you get elected as sheriff. Folks, get out there and get behind him. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.